Welcome, everyone. My name is Tina Sursted. I am a proud member of the League of Women Voters, Dakota County. It is my privilege to introduce our moderator, Lynn Lewis. Lynn is a trained moderator, an active member of our league, and currently serving as a co-president and a co-chair of the Voter Service Committee. Thank you, Lynn, for moderating this forum.
Thank you, Tina. Good evening and welcome to the SD 56B State Representative Candidate Forum presented by the League of Women Voters, Dakota County and the Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce. We extend our heartfelt thanks to the candidate for joining us tonight and a special appreciation to the cities of Apple Valley and Rosemont for recording and broadcasting this event, as well as the city of Rosemont for generously providing its facilities. This recording will be shared to Egan TV to broadcast to voters in their viewing area. The League of Women Voters will also share the recording on our social media platforms. The Dakota County Regional Chamber of Commerce, a cornerstone of our community for 66 years, serves 9 cities and 3 townships, representing half of Dakota County's residents. The Chamber is dedicated to advancing both business and community through initiatives like this candidate forum. We're grateful for their collaboration with the League of Women Voters Dakota County in hosting this event. The League of Women Voters, with a rich 104-year history, is committed to empowering voters through education, engagement, and civic participation. As a nonpartisan organization, the League neither supports nor opposes any political party or candidate. Our goal is to provide unbiased information to Minnesota voters, regardless of their political affiliations. This forum is a valuable public service, offering you the chance to hear directly from candidates about key issues. Please note that the views expressed are those of the candidates and not of the League of Women Voters of Dakota County or the Chamber of Commerce. Sponsorship of this event does not imply endorsement of any candidate. We provide complete, unedited recordings of our forums. Editing is permitted only for official media purposes, and any excerpts or edited clips must not be used for partisan or political purposes. Candidate Anderson was not able to join us on September 3rd, so we're providing her an opportunity tonight to respond to the same questions as candidate Hewitt did on September 3rd. We will begin with candidate Anderson's opening statement, lasting 2 minutes. The candidate's closing statement will also be 2 minutes. The candidate will have 90 seconds to answer each question, and we kindly ask that you adhere to these time limits. Our timekeeper will hold up a yellow sign to indicate you have 15 seconds remaining and a stop sign when it's time to wrap up your response. Many of tonight's questions were submitted via email and reviewed by a League committee for clarity. Additional questions were developed based on community interests. Due to time constraints, we will not be able to address every question submitted. Thank you for your participation, and we look forward to an engaging and informative discussion. Let's begin with your opening statement. Candidate Anderson.
Hello, I'm Angeline Anderson, and I'm running to represent our community in the Minnesota Legislature. Growing up in Rosemount as the oldest of 5 children, I've watched our town grow and change, but what has always remained constant is the strong sense of community, family values, and hard work that defines who we are. Raised in a home with a Teamsters Union father and a nurse and small business owner mother, I learned early the importance of standing up for what's right, supporting each other, and giving back to the community. This campaign is personal for me because I've seen firsthand the values that hold us together. As an actress and an owner of a film production business, I understand the challenges and rewards of hard work and dedication. My priorities are clear: revitalizing our economy by cutting red tape, lowering taxes, supporting small business, supporting law enforcement to ensure public safety, and ensuring our education system returns to the basics, providing funding and flexibility for our schools needed to help every student succeed. Rosemount is home to me, and I'm committed to making sure that families, schools, and businesses have the opportunities that they deserve to thrive. Together, I believe that we can build a future that honors our values and strengthens our community for the generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate. Now we'll move on to questions. And our first question is, what areas of public policy are you personally passionate about?
So as I mentioned a little bit in my opening statement, the 3 areas that I'm passionate about are revitalizing the economy, ensuring public safety, and strengthening the education system. I believe that revitalizing the economy is essential to creating opportunities for everyone. I support policies that reduce burdensome regulations, promote small businesses, and make homeownership more accessible. I believe that public safety is the core function of government, and I'm committed to supporting law enforcement while holding offenders accountable. I believe in stronger penalties for those that have committed violent crimes, and ensuring that our peace officers have the resources and training that they need to keep our communities and streets safe. I also believe education is the key to our future. I'm passionate about protecting parental rights in education, ensuring that every student has access to quality education that will prepare them for success, and also providing funding and flexibility so that schools can meet each student's unique needs, and supporting traditional values while promoting educational choice so that families can find the best fit for their children. These areas I feel like are critical to building a stronger and more prosperous state.
Thank you. And our next question is, what is one piece of recent legislation that you think will most impact your constituents, and why do you support or oppose it?
The one piece of legislation that I believe will most negatively impact our constituents is the sales tax increases. Despite the promises to protect the middle class, we saw in this last session that the Democrats had raised taxes, leading to higher prices and also smaller paychecks for Minnesotans. So the decision is troubling, given we had an $18 billion surplus that we blew through, and then in addition to that, raised taxes by $10 billion. Suggests that the government is not living within its means. And I feel that even though families budget out their times, I think our government should be doing the same. And that's why I stand firmly against these tax increases.
Thank you. And our next question is, as a member of the legislature, what measures, if any, would you support to reinforce or ensure voter confidence in our elections?
To reinforce and ensure voter confidence in our elections, I believe in requiring voter ID. I think it's a straightforward and transparent solution. I've been an election judge for many cycles and gone through the vigorous training, and I believe, they do that to make sure that we have transparent elections and that people are knowledgeable doing it. But I've also seen people that come in to vote who are frustrated that we're not vetting their ID when they show it. And I just feel like it's understandable. You have to use an ID to fly, to purchase alcohol if you want, or even renting a car. So I believe voting is one of our most important civic duties, and I feel like it shouldn't be any different.
Thank you. And our next question, the Minnesota legislature passed a law requiring use of electricity from carbon-free sources by 2040. What additional steps should be taken by the legislature regarding climate change?
So to tackle climate change and grow the economy, I support an all-above approach to energy options. So that means expanding clean energy like solar, wind, biofuels, while also investing in natural gas and nuclear. I believe we need to have a balance between protecting the environment and practical economic solutions. I think that the legislature should encourage innovation in clean energy and promote efficiency programs to help lower costs for businesses and homeowners. And I think that we need to streamline regulations to speed up energy projects so that they're not bogged down by unnecessary red tape, ensuring us to modernize infrastructure and expand access to reliable and affordable energy.
Thank you. And our next question is, what should be the legislature's role, if any, in determining school curriculum and what is taught in classrooms throughout the state?
I feel that the legislature plays an important but also a limited role in shaping school curriculum. Its focus should be setting broad educational standards while also respecting local control and parental rights. I think that they should establish statewide academic benchmarks in core subjects like reading, math, history, to ensure that students are prepared for success. But I also believe that they should protect parental rights, allowing families to guide their children's education, be a part of the conversation through school choice, including charter schools and homeschools. And most importantly, I believe in funding and flexibility so that local schools can use resources that find ways to meet their specific needs and isn't just a blanket, one-size-fits-all approach to mandates that tends to be enforced by the state. I think that we need to remain balanced, facts-based, and free-form from ideological bias, focusing on critical thinking and preparing students for the future while leaving specific decisions to the local school boards.
Thank you. And our next question is, how would you solicit input from your constituents on issues that come before the state legislature?
So I would kind of continue what I have been doing throughout this campaign, which is hosting town hall meetings in person or even virtual to get feedback, sending out surveys and polls to, get input on legislative manners, hosting office hours that would allow constituents to come in and talk and express their concerns. And nowadays, I find social media to be really helpful. So I'm on all the platforms, and I would continue doing so and allowing people to contact me through that.
Thank you. And our next question, due to increases in state government spending in 2023, the budget forecast now shows state spending growth outpacing tax revenue. If the state were to encounter a budget deficit, how would you balance the state's budget?
My approach to balancing the state's budget would be to balance it without placing an extra burden on taxpayers or cutting essential services. I would focus on reducing unnecessary government spending by eliminating waste and inefficiencies and making sure that taxpayer dollars are used efficiently. At the same time, I would also prioritize critical services, including public safety, education, and healthcare. I think that encouraging economic growth is key. By supporting job creation, business expansion, and regulatory reform and tax incentives, we can grow the tax base and then therefore increase revenue without raising taxes.
Thank you. And our next question, if there continue to be large budget surpluses, do you support lowering all tax rates, lowering tax rates for low and middle income taxpayers only, or not lowering tax rates for anyone? Please explain your position.
I would support lowering tax rates for all taxpayers, with the focus on providing the greatest relief to low and middle income families. I believe that tax cut for everyone will help stimulate economic growth by increasing disposable income and then therefore promoting consumer spending. And I also believe in focusing relief on the low and middle income tax rates because it'll alleviate the financial pressures that they face and ensure that working families are benefiting the most. I feel like lowering taxes across the board helps and encourages everyone. It provides us with a more competitive market, attracts new businesses and new investments, and encourages job creation, which all benefit the state's long-term economic health.
Thank you. Many are concerned with gun violence in our communities. What legislation, if any, could you support to meet the need for safe communities?
So I understand the deep concern about gun violence in our communities, and I believe that we can find solutions that prioritize safety with also respecting the Second Amendment rights. I, as I mentioned, support stronger penalties, especially those that are gun-related crimes. I believe that they should face tougher consequences. I also believe we need to invest more in our mental health resources so that we can provide people with the care they need before we even get to a crisis point. And lastly, supporting law enforcement, as I've said, providing them with the tools and the resources that they need to protect us. Because essentially, I think that safety and freedom can go hand in hand, and I'm committed to achieving both.
Thank you. And our next question is, what is the role of the Minnesota legislature, if any, on foreign policy issues or events?
So I think the role of the Minnesota legislature is limited when it comes to foreign affairs, since that's primarily the responsibility of the federal government. However, I do feel like they can play a role in addressing the local impacts of global issues, for instance, promoting international trade to support Minnesota businesses and to ensure that they thrive in a global market. I also believe that we could partner with the Minnesota congressional delegation to work on a federal level that will promote investment in Minnesota and leave the major foreign policies to Congress.
And our next question is, given the U.S. Supreme Court Dobbs decision overturning Roe v. Wade, state legislatures are enacting new laws regarding women's reproductive health issues, including access to care and birth control. What measures, if any, do you think the Minnesota legislature should enact regarding women's reproductive health and abortion?
So when I've been out door knocking, I've heard a lot about this and a lot of confusion around abortion, especially people hearing news of stuff that's happening in other states and thinking that it might apply here. But the reality is that Governor Walz has already codified some of the most extreme abortion laws in the country right here in Minnesota. So although debates in other states are going, in Minnesota, essentially the law is settled and it's not going anywhere. So I think that we need to shift our focus a little bit in offering real support to women so they don't feel like abortion is their only choice. I would like to see, more compassionate care for women facing tragic situations like miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies, and restoring funding to crisis pregnancy centers that provide real life-affirming options. I also would agree that we need tax breaks on baby products and also making IVF more accessible for those who are struggling to conceive. For me, it's about valuing life and dignity for the woman, the child, and a family. And so I feel like here in Minnesota, we can create a Minnesota life where every life is supported and celebrated.
Thank you. And that brings us to our final question. Do you support Minnesota's current environmental review and permitting system? Why or why not? And what changes would you recommend?
I feel that the environmental review and permitting system plays an important role in protecting our natural resources, but I also think that can be a barrier to economic growth and development. And although I feel like environmental stewardship is critical, the process sometimes becomes too lengthy, the goalposts change and becomes complicated and burdensome. So it often will delay important projects and essentially drives up the costs for businesses and communities. I would support reforms that would streamline the permitting process without compromising environmental standards. And I believe that this could set clear timelines for reviews, reducing redundant regulations, and increase transparency so that projects can move forward more efficiently. I believe that modernizing the system will just help maintain our commitment to environmental protection while also fostering economic growth here in Minnesota.
Thank you. And that brings us to your closing statement. You'll have 2 minutes.
First and foremost, I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for allowing me the opportunity to correct, as you mentioned, the statement that I didn't respond to participate, and I'm grateful for the chance to answer the same questions as my opponent so that voters could hear directly from me. As I've gone door to door and spoken with many of you, I've heard stories that have moved me, from parents wanting a brighter future for their kids, small business owners looking to grow and invest their dreams, and individuals who want to feel safe and secure in the communities that they love. These stories remind me of why I'm running. It's not about politics, it's about the people. It's about protecting values that we hold dear and a future that we all can be proud of. I'm committed to working tirelessly for each and every one of you to make our neighborhoods safer, our economy stronger, and our schools places where students can thrive. I'm not just asking for your vote, I'm asking for your trust, because together we can create a Minnesota where hope, opportunity, and security all exist. Thank you.
And that concludes our candidate forum. On behalf of the League of Women Voters Dakota County and the Dakota County Chamber of Commerce, we extend our sincere gratitude to everyone who participated in tonight's forum. A special thank you goes to our candidate for her commitment to the democratic process and her willingness to serve our community. The League of Women Voters is dedicated to researching issues critical to our members and to the well-being of our communities. If you're interested in learning more about our work and discovering how you can make a difference, please visit us at lwvdakotacounty.org. For additional information about voting and candidates, please check out mnvotes.org and vote411.org. Thank you once again for tuning in, and please don't forget to vote by November 5th.